In video 1, we looked at loading data from flat files, which included Excel workbooks. Now, often we also want to load data from relational databases, such as Microsoft Access, from within the Power Query editor. So this can be done from within the Power Query editor, or if I close and load, this can also be done from data in Excel and get data, and from database and from Microsoft Access. So that's one way of getting the data, but I'm going to go back to my Power Query editor where I really want to get familiar with Power Query, and I'm going to go back to edit, and within Power Query, I actually want to use the New Source button. New Source, Database, and Access. Actually, let me just move that over a little bit so you can see that better. New Source, Database, and Access. Okay. So from here, I'm going to choose my database called Northwind, and I'm going to import. This will automatically create a connection, and then it will load the navigator, as we've seen with the Excel files. Now it's in here that it lists all the queries and all the tables that you can import. So tables are represented by this little grid here, and queries are represented by this overlaying of two squares. Now what I want to bring in is just tables, and I want to be able to select multiple tables. So that's when I'll tick this option here, select multiple items. Let's start by saying I want to bring in orders, the orders table. But maybe I want to bring in also all the tables that are related to this table because it's a relational database. So I'm going to ask it to select all related tables. So this will bring in orders, and as you'll notice, it's just tick customers, employees, order details, and shippers because they're all related to orders. Now let's say I also want to bring in products, and I'll just select related tables as well, and that is automatically ticked basically the rest of the tables, supplier, for example. Now I also want to bring in one of the queries, which is the 10 most expensive products. So I also bring in all the tables and one of the queries. And as I click on each one, I can actually see on the right-hand side the data that resides in each of these. So I've chosen what I want to bring in, and because I'm doing this from within Power Query Editor, I don't get load or transform because it's going to naturally bring it straight into Power Query, which is the same as transform. So I click OK. A lot of whirring and whizzing will continue, and ultimately, let me just move this over, you'll have 12 queries sitting in your Power Query Editor. And here they are here. So there's the query, and these are the various tables that we brought in. Now to begin with, we had 3 tables. These are not alphabetical, notice. To begin with, they are just in the order in which they were bought in. We bought in sales 2021 first, we bought in customers second, and we bought in orders third. And these 3 were Excel files. Now the remainder were all tables and 1 query from a database. And whenever there's a duplicate, like we already had orders and we already had customers, it calls it orders to, and it calls it customers to. And we looked at earlier how you could easily just click on one of these and rename it using the properties on the right hand side, but we'll do that later. At the moment, I just want to be comfortable that we can bring in data from a database.